The next comic's a very funny guy. He hosts a monthly show called Sorry, Please Continue with the Heavy Anchor. Make some noise for Jeremy Hellwig, everybody! Hello. Okay, good. You responded. I don't know why I did that. That's better. One thing about me, I don't tell my coworkers much about myself. They mainly just know me as that guy that went on The Price is Right that one time. And my friends mainly know me as that guy that lies to his coworkers. So that's me. There's this group of people on the internet that I think are hilarious, and they're men's rights activists, and they call themselves meninists. Yeah, it's already funny. No punchlines yet. This is a great premise. And my favorite thing about men's rights activists that call themselves meninists is that means that they think the opposite of feminine is meninin. He built a whole movement around not knowing the word masculine. It's like when people say they're a meatitarian. It's like, really? You eat meatables? That's dumb. So we're all from Missouri. We all know the town of Hannibal, Missouri. That's where Mark Twain is from. And every year they do a festival where they pick a kid, they dress that kid up as Tom Sawyer, and they act out the book Tom Sawyer. They like paint picket fences. It's adorable. Used to do that with Huckleberry Finn, but the kid kept drowning before he got to New Orleans. They're like, we'll send a chaperone. Who went with him in the book? Nope. Not gonna do that. We're not gonna strap a 12-year-old and the one black person in town to a piece of plywood and float him down the Mississippi. You guys are a fun crowd because you're familiar with at least one book. It gives you a leg up on some audiences. So one time I was hosting a show at a club, and I got off stage and I went into the bathroom, and a couple minutes later an audience member came in and he tried to open the stall door, and he said, "Oops, didn't realize anyone was in there. By the way, good set tonight." Did he just look through the crack? I guess I'm not pooping at this comedy club anymore. Go next door or something, I don't know. So I said, thanks, I guess. And he said, yeah, there were some winners and some losers, it was all right. So not only is he peeping Tom guy, he's also backhanded compliment guy. So I was in a hurry to get back, so I couldn't time this. I should have just waited, but we were both washing our hands at the same time. There were two sinks. It wasn't, we weren't holding hands. But he turned to me and he said, so you comedians, do you guys like to do hard drugs? And I was like, what is happening? Is he trying to sell drugs to me, buy drugs from me, convert me to Christianity? I don't know. And I said, no, and he goes, man, it's back in my day, comics like Sam Kinison were all doing heroin and killing themselves. Why don't you guys do that anymore? It's like, read the news, we do. What? That's when I realized that this was the guy that was sitting in the front row, and he was vaping so much, I felt like an NBA player being introduced. And it was banana flavored. The story about the bathroom, that's the grossest detail. That whole story. Do you ever wonder or think about how disappointed Willy Wonka must have been when he lured all those kids to his chocolate factory and they each brought a parent with them? Like he did his somersault, he's like, ta-da! I thought I gave them each a +1. these kids not have any friends? I didn't start a chocolate empire because parents make me horny. Start setting traps, but the kids keep dying instead. Damn it. At the end, he's like, Charlie, you can have the factory. It's not as much fun as it sounds. It's just real sad, but better that a kid didn't get touched, I guess. So something about me is I'll meet people and then I'll see them later and think, oh, I met that guy before, but I almost never remember people's names. Some people would call it being inconsiderate, but I think it's just hard for me. I don't know. But back in college, there was a guy that I would see all the time, and he was great at remembering names, and he made sure you knew it. Because he'd be like, hey, Jeremy, how's it going? And I'd be like, oh, hey, what's up? And then he literally would do this. Yeah, I forgot your name again. Sorry, I'm an asshole. Spoiler alert, his name is Jeff, so that's not memorable, right? And I was complaining about him to my girlfriend at the time, and she said, that guy does the same thing to me. And she called him that guy because she also doesn't remember his name. We're both real bad. So we came up with a revenge plan. So we asked our friends, they said his name's Jeff, and we're like, of course, how am I going to remember that? So we studied real hard all week to make sure we learned this guy's name. That's how, like, we made flashcards. We made a flashcard. One side said Jeff, the other side said guy that's an asshole. Came up with mnemonic devices. The only one I remember right now was just eat ass, fart face. Which spells Jeef, but context clues. Like, I didn't know if it was Jeff with a J or G off. It doesn't matter. And then we went to a party, we walked in, he saw us immediately. Perfect, falling for our trap. He said, hey Jeremy, hey Anna, how's it going? And we both said, your name's Jeff. Fuck you! And then we high-fived, we turned around, we walked back out the door. Just went home and celebrated. And as the door was closing, I heard someone in the room go, yeah, fuck Jeff. Amazing. I finally know how my grandpa felt when he won World War II. Really good. Vanquishing evil feels fucking good. So I went and taught English at a university in China for a year after I graduated from college. And one thing that happened was all my students wanted me to give them an English name, you know, like John or Sally or whatever. But the problem is whenever I lesson planned, I like to drink a few beers. Let's just say right now in China, there's a cute girl who tells white people her name's Octopussy. She's doing better than Finger Bang, though. He's having a hard time. I also almost got in a fight with a Chinese guy when I was there, and I learned an important lesson, which is if you're going to try and intimidate somebody, just use your own language. Because at some point I said to him, how about you get the fuck out of my face? And he said, no, you fuck my face. I'm an English teacher. I can explain what wrong, but you're not going to like it. But then again, maybe that's just how he fights. Maybe that was a trap. It's the most vulnerable position from which to fight. Inside someone's mouth. Because you're like, where do I hit him without hitting me? There is an answer, and it's gross, but it's the only correct answer, and that is the back of the throat. That's where you hit him. Anyone going, oh, I'm not saying do that to your girlfriend. I'm saying if someone in a fist fight tricks you into putting your dick in their mouth, then you can be a rude lover, okay? When punching's allowed, so was that. Unless there's consent, whatever, who cares? So there are two types of toilets, okay? There's the regular toilets, which are ovals, and there are the terrible cheap toilets, which are circles. If you've never noticed the difference before, it's because you don't have a penis, okay? Some people are nodding their head, they know what I'm talking about. Their girlfriends are going to ask them about this later. Here's the difference. It's about $50 up front to install a regular toilet. And with a regular oval toilet, you can live your life like a human being with dignity while you poop. With the small ones, your dick touches the underside of the seat every time. Sometimes the front of the bowl, you know, the dirtiest part of any given building. I'm not making this up, okay? I've had audience members come up to me and be like, yeah, I texted my fiance after the show and he said, unfortunately true. So I guess my point here is, ladies, if you go home with a man and he has a circle toilet in his apartment, don't put that dick in your mouth. Normally I'd say you don't know where it's been. You know where it's been, okay? This is just a PSA, okay? PSA stands for Penis Sanitation Advisory. Like if you went to a restaurant and they're supposed to have nice steak, but the menu says part of the preparation process it might have touched a toilet, you're not gonna just hope it took a shower since then, okay? Go to a different restaurant. You don't want to get pink eye of the mouth? I don't know what it's called. It's probably just food poisoning. You don't want that. So just be careful out there. I saw this really cool joke on a Laffy Taffy rapper recently, and it was written by an 8-year-old, and it was, why did the bowling pins stop working? And the answer was, because they were on strike. Now that joke is amazing because it's written by an 8-year-old that knows about labor relations. Like, what other jokes did she submit? Is she like, what did the exploitative capitalist get when he fell off his bike? Scabs! I knew you guys were a smart audience. Oh, man. So people say that Batman is the world's greatest detective. That's his thing, that and I guess dressing like a bat. Right? But I don't think he's that good. Because if you think about it, in terms of being a detective, like he can fight. But none of the bad guys from Batman are difficult to detect. What detective work are you doing? Right? Like a bank gets robbed by Two-Face. A man in a personally built suit that nobody else owns. What is his main attribute? He has a very memorable face. What, are you going to accidentally arrest the guy that burned the top half of his face? What's Two-Face's other trait? He makes decisions by flipping a coin. There was a villain in Gotham called Regular Looking Guy that tries not to get caught. Batman would show up at the scene and be like, oh crap, I don't know. Did they leave any branded merchandise? That's how I figured out it was the Joker. Like, what's the Riddler's main power? He feels compelled to leave additional evidence at the scene of the crime. This is a whole thing. And yet they're like, oh, Batman, he's a great detective. I think all the other cops in Gotham just suck ass. That's probably what it is. Like, Batman first came out in the 40s, okay? You gotta think about that. Like, Jim Crow was still a thing. Probably back in early Batman, the police would be like, witnesses said the bank robber resembled a penguin. So we're gonna do what we always do and beat up black teenagers till one confesses to bank robbery. Batman's like, guys,
There's someone that goes by the Penguin. Maybe we can start there. Like, holy shit, Batman's real smart. Also, in the movie Dark Knight Rises, it took Batman 2 hours to learn that Bane's weakness is being punched in his breathing mask. I figured that out when I heard about the trailer. So probably the biggest change that's happened to me in the past year is now, whenever I eat food that tastes really good, or I'm about to eat food that I think will be really good, I will hear myself involuntarily say, "Oh boy!" And it's almost every time. There's a few different ways I say it. I was at a restaurant and I got a steak one time. And I got my steak and I rubbed my hands together and heard myself go, "Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy." Which startled me, kind of scared my friends. The waiter was literally in the Heisman position. This is a problem. But apparently that's just a change your body goes through when you turn 32, right? Or I guess just me, because like most people, they get into their 30s and good food starts giving them heartburn. For me, it turns me into Leave It to Beaver. So I was driving my car recently, and I saw a car accident in the intersection. This car got T-boned by this other one, and I was fine, but I heard myself go, "Oh boy!" I was like, "Oh no, is this going to be all I can say in the future? Am I going to be like Hodor from Game of Thrones?" They're like, "This here's oh boy." We call him that because he can only say oh boy. Oh boy. They try to send me to my room because they're tired of me just saying oh boy. And I'm like, "Oh boy, oh boy." And I walk back real sad. So I watch porn sometimes, haha, so do you, who cares? And I saw a video the other day, and the title was something like, "Two hot coworkers have steamy sex while on the clock." And I was like, yeah, that's always what happens. They're always coworkers. That's how an industry, it's the porn industry. Not the porn, we just found it. They're always coworkers, they usually have sex. I'd like to hope it's on the clock, otherwise what is this, break room harassment? But also they didn't tell me anything about the video. Like the title should have just been, "Business casual couple fucks in a desk." Because that's obviously what it was, right? And when I was younger, I'd have been like, "Ooh, that's hot." But now that I'm in my 30s, I'm like, her back's gonna hurt tomorrow. I just want everyone to be happy, that's my thing. Like a lot of videos are very negative and it doesn't seem like everyone's happy. I guess it's my hill to die on about porn. Like I wish, like behind the scenes, like my high school choir teacher could be there to be like, "Okay, everybody, smiles. Let's act like we want to be here." Some of you took choir. Some of you are like, "That's creepy." But like, let's just make it more positive. Like usually the coworker type ones, it's usually like boss punishes secretary. I don't want to watch that. Let's do something more positive, like two coworkers that seem to like each other fuck in the break room while unionizing their workplace. And then more people keep joining the gangbang until they have collective bargaining rights. That way we can all be educated. It's a lot like Newsies, except less singing and dancing, more double penetration. Christian Bale can still be there, I don't care. But one type of porn that I don't like, and it seems to be like half of the videos, and I'm not searching for it. I use incognito mode. Must be all you perverts out there that are just clamoring for this terrible thing. It's the ones where it's like stepbrother and stepsister. They call each other brother and sister. It's like incest? Like what? Why do you gotta make porn more taboo? They're already having sex. Why you gotta pretend they're also doing a crime? And why incest? That's the least appetizing crime to think about. Why don't you do something sexy like larceny? Yeah. I mean, the coworkers are at least doing time theft. That's a cool crime. If you don't do time theft at your work, stop licking boots, start shitting at work, start living your life, you know? But sometimes I see the incesty sounding videos, and I look at the thumbnail, and I think, well, she is really hot, I'm gonna click on that. But I tell myself, I'm like, Jeremy, remember, they're not really related. They're just two coworkers collaborating on a project. And inevitably she'll say something like, fuck me, brother. Okay, Jeremy, remember, she's just doing a Hulk Hogan impression. Hope she didn't say the N-word. This is great, an audience that remembers how Huckleberry Finn goes and remembers that Hulk Hogan's racist. It's a hell of a Venn diagram there. But the videos that I really don't like the worst ones, I call them abusive power situations because they're gross. And it grows. I think it grows out of the tradition of like, woman ordered a pizza, but she doesn't have cash, so she has to blow the pizza guy. Except like terrible, awkward situations where it's things like, sexy landlord fucks tenant that can't pay. And I'm like, no! I don't want to watch that. I'm sad just thinking about it. Like, woman blows cop to get out of a ticket. This is terrible. No! Were people just going to Pornhub and typing, I want to feel sad about capitalism? Enter. Like, can't you just watch the news? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if it just keeps getting worse. It's like, sexy school teacher sucks off school shooter to save the kids. I'm not saying I want that to exist, I'm saying it probably does. And I'm not clicking on it. I don't click on anything that says kids. I haven't seen one that says kids, but that just sounds... It's like if you set a trap by just putting a hole in the ground, not even covering it up, just, hey, maybe they'll walk into this hole. Or ExxonMobil CEO fucks environment. I click on that because I don't know what that means. It's like a guy in a suit fucks a globe and they, on a desk, they just roll off. It'd be cool. So I was reading the news the other day, and I saw there was this survey that someone did, and they asked a bunch of people, what would you do if you could be the opposite gender for one day? And here are answers that they actually printed in this article. A man said, shopping, shopping, shopping. What's up with all that shopping? And I'm sure he's just terrible to be around. And a woman said, I would play video games all day and ignore my girlfriend. And I like to think that's the same couple just trapped in an unhappy relationship. They're just answering loud enough for the other one to hear it. I talk to my goddamn mother-in-law every day of the week. I don't know, but all the answers were things like that. They were just weird, not even veiled, blatant sexism. Like one man said he would learn how to cook. It's like you got a vagina for 24 hours and you're gonna take a class at community college. Like, a man can cook too. I wouldn't think I'd have to say that, but then I read this, I'm like, I gotta tell rooms full of people, men can cook. People are dumb. So I guess you're wondering, what would I do? So if I had a vagina for 24 hours, someone's putting a dick in it. That's the only answer that makes sense. Once I've had an audience member say if she was a man for a day, she'd pee standing up. your whole plan is to spend 1 minute peeing less comfortably? No, put a fucking dick in vagina, right? Because it's curiosity, right? And if the saying, curiosity killed the cat, that's about pussy, I don't care, it's a rental. I don't need my deposit back. But like, I've never been a woman before. I've never tried to pick up a man before. I feel like I'm going to learn on my feet. I feel like it's going to be a time crunch at some point. I'm going to be like, hey dude, this carriage turns back into a pumpkin at midnight. You'd rather not still be on board. I don't know how hypothetical, magical situations work vis-a-vis losing your dick, but let's play the odds and just hurry up, okay? So I told somebody recently about how I was writing that joke and how I assumed that if I was a woman, I'd be interested in men, because I'm straight, I assume it would just flop, I don't know. And he said, that's gay. If I was a chick, I would still fuck other chicks. It's like, how is that less gay than what I said? I don't think it is less gay than what I said. So whenever I was in second grade, you know, I was a good kid. I always followed all the rules, always did all my homework. And then one day, I raised my hand because I had to go to the bathroom. My teacher was like grading papers or something. She didn't see me for like 40 minutes. So eventually she sees me and I convince her that I need to go to the bathroom. So I go out in the hallway, I go across the hall into the bathroom, I close the stall door, I unbuckle my belt, and shit my pants. That sounds bad, but it's worse than you think. Because if you shit your pants at work as an adult, statistically, some of us have done that, you have an escape plan built into your brain. A second grader cannot do one step of that escape plan, okay? Here's the escape plan. You take off your underwear, you throw it in the trash. I can't do that, my mom bought me these. Then you drive home, you put your pants in the wash, you take a shower. I didn't have a car, know how to drive, or know where my house was relative to the school. I also didn't know how to use the washing machine. What, am I just going to leave a shit surprise for my mom to find? Also, I didn't take showers. I took baths. Am I just going to sit in poop water for 20 minutes? Then you call your boss and say, hey, I'm working from home today. Oh, am I going to call the school whose number I didn't know? And be like, hey, tell Mrs. Kavorak I'm going to teach myself cursive today. See you tomorrow. No, not one thing. So here's what I did do. I wiped as well as I could, trying not to use too much toilet paper because of the rainforest. Like I said, I was a nerd that followed all the rules. And then I went and I washed my hands, but in a hurry, because I'm like, it's been a long time. It hadn't been a long time. I pooped right away. Some of you are probably thinking, why didn't you just rinse your pants out in the sink? Oh, so I can smell like I shit myself and look like I pissed myself? Terrible idea. No more suggestions, audience. Be ashamed of yourself for thinking of that. And then my next step was, I'm just gonna reintegrate into society like nothing happened. There's only 2 more hours until lunch and then the second half of the day. We can do this. So I go back to my chair. 1/trillionth of a second later, cute girl sits at my table and goes, what's that smell? And I'm like, oh no, I forgot about smell. I don't smell anything. Other girl, also cute, also at my table, goes, yeah, did somebody fart? That's terrible. I'm like, who smelled it, dealt it? And then I look down, and I see on my worksheet there was a brown fingerprint. I have failed as thoroughly as possible. So here's how you get out of that situation without being called poop pants boy for the rest of your life. you go to the front of the room and you tell the teacher that you shit your pants. So you can then go to the office and tell the principal that you shit your pants. And then call your mom at work and tell her that you shit your pants. And then presumably she told my dad, but he never mentioned it to me. It's like, what's he gonna say? Hey, next time, try not to do that. Yeah, if I didn't learn my lesson, send me back to first grade because I need to learn how to learn lessons. So I'm gonna end on this. I was at a bar recently and I sat down and I guess a glass had broken or something because there was a tiny piece of glass on the seat and it went through my jeans and it cut my butt cheek a little. Don't worry, I'm fine. You guys like to laugh when I mentioned that I felt pain, but do you, I guess. But I took care of it, and then I went back to the bathroom a few minutes later to see if it was still doing all right. And there's normally nobody in this bathroom, so I didn't even look up. I immediately reached my hand down my pants, pulled it out, went, oh, good. I looked up, there's like 8 guys waiting at the window, all looking at me like, what? So you know how when you do something embarrassing, you kind of mutter an excuse to yourself, but loud enough for everyone to hear it? Like if you push in a door and you realize it says pull, you're like, that door gets stuck every time, right guys? I tried to do that, except what I said was, just checking to make sure my butt's not still bleeding. Because it was earlier. Hey, my name's Jeremy. You guys have been great. Okay, everybody back up here.